Hello students, we have so far seen the differential equation for a spring mass system, what are the initial conditions required, then we have derived the solution of that. We also have seen how exactly the solution looks like. And now in the today's class, we are going to solve couple of examples. Okay, we are going to consider certain mechanical systems and we'll try to see similarity of those mechanical systems with the spring mass system that we have already seen. Okay, so now let's consider the first system, which is a pendulum. Okay, consider a mass, m units mass, attached to a fixed wall by using a rod which is having a length equal to L, and consider that this rod is massless, it doesn't have mass with it. Okay, so it's ideally not possible to have a rod which doesn't have any mass, but what you can say is that that mass is very negligible as compared to this mass, okay, which is attached at the end, and hence you can fairly neglect that mass and you can say that the rod is almost a massless. Or in the other case, you can think of this as a string, okay, a taut string, and again the mass of the string is considered to be very small as compared to the mass which is attached at this end. And in that case you can fairly make an assumption which is fairly good enough, saying that the string is completely massless. Okay, now this is a case of a pendulum which you might have studied before. Okay, so we'll try to derive the differential equation of this pendulum. Okay. In order to do that, what we'll be doing is we'll be disturbing this pendulum by angle theta, and we'll say that this is the new position of the mass. Okay, so we'll be measuring angle theta in this direction. We'll be measuring it with respect to the vertical line, and anticlockwise sense it will be considered as a positive one. Okay, so this is what is the uh, reference of theta, and this is the sign convention of that. Okay, so theta is positive in this anti-clockwise direction, so this angle is theta. Okay, so let's say that the rod has displaced from this initial position to this new position, and the angle subtended between these two positions is theta, and this is the mass over here. Okay, and now what you are doing is you are releasing this mass. Okay, and now that mass performs oscillatory motion along this path, and our job is to find out differential equation for that. Okay, now in this previous condition, okay, this is undisturbed condition. In that case there was weight mg which was balanced by either the tension in the spring or the restoring force which is developed in that rod. Okay, so that was balanced, this entire mg which is weight of this mass was balanced. Now in this new position, weight of the mass is still going to act vertical, but the string or the rod is positioned in this fashion, okay, which is at an angle theta. Okay, so angle between this is theta. Now what I do is I'll be decomposing this force into its two components. Okay, one will be along the radial direction and one will be along the tangential direction. Component of mg along the radial direction will be equal to mg cos theta, which will be balanced by the weight. Okay, which will be balanced by the tension in the string. Okay, and the other component, which is the tangential one, that is going to remain unbalanced, and what will be the magnitude of that? Magnitude of that will be equal to mg sine theta. Okay, so mg sine theta is the unbalanced force acting in the tangential direction. There is nothing which can kind of balance this force. This force which is along the radial direction has been balanced by the tension. We are assuming that the tension in the string remains constant. Now you will wonder that this is balancing tension. It has got cos theta, with change in theta it is going to change, and now how can we make the assumption that tension in the string is constant? We'll come back to that. Okay, so but let's assume that that's true. Okay. So in that case, so what we'll be doing is we'll be saying that this is the unbalanced force. So unbalanced force is equal to mg sine theta, okay, in this direction. Now let me take torque which is caused because of this unbalanced force about this point. Okay, let me take moment of this force about this axis, okay, which is outward and passing through the point. Okay, so what is the so it's this axis, okay, perpendicular to the plane, and it's passing through this point, which is this fixed point. Okay, so what is the moment of the force about that? So that will be equal to mg sine theta times L, which is length of this. Okay, so mg sine theta times L is the unbalanced torque. This torque remains unbalanced. There is nothing which can balance this torque. Okay, so obviously this has to cause angular acceleration. Okay, so how much angulation? Okay, so one thing we are missing over here, so that is the sign. Okay, before we go for further steps, we need to have a look at the sign. So is there anything we are missing into it? Yes, we are missing one minus sign over here. So why minus sign should be there? Because you will be seeing that we said that theta is positive in this direction, so we'll be assuming the same direction positive for torque as well. And now because of this force which is acting in this direction, okay, towards the previous position, that unbalanced force is causing uh, unbalanced torque which is acting in the negative direction of theta, and hence we should have this negative sign over here. Okay, so unbalanced torque in our case is now minus mg sine theta L. This unbalanced torque should cause angular acceleration alpha, and it will be equal to, so that there will this t and alpha will be proportional, and proportionality constant will be I. Okay, and this I will be equal to moment of inertia, and that has to be equal to m times L square times this alpha, which is nothing but d square theta times dt square. Okay, and we know the expression of t, which is this minus mgl sine theta. So I can write down minus mgl sine theta is equal to ml square d square theta by dt square, which essentially means that L square d square theta by dt square plus gl sine theta equal to 0, or in other words d square theta by dt square plus g by L sine theta equal to 0. This is the differential equation which is governing the motion of this mass block. Okay. Now what differential equation we have seen in the case of spring mass system? It was mx double dot plus kx equal to 0, which we can write down in terms of acceleration quantity as this x double dot plus k by m times x is equal to 0. Okay. So is there any relationship between this and this? Is there any similarity? Uh, kind of, but not that much. Okay, so because we have sine theta term over here, and I don't know whether you are aware of it, but sine theta term has got theta cube, theta raised to 5, these quantities coming into picture. So you can express this as a series sum, okay, in terms of a series. So there are infinite number of terms in that series, and summation of those infinite terms can be considered to be equal to sine theta, and those terms involve higher powers of theta. Okay, so you can think of this differential equation as d square theta times dt square plus something which is this g by L times all these quantities theta plus or minus, so it has got some sinus certain sign over here, so that I'm as of now unaware, I mean I have forgotten it. Okay, but anyways, but this function of theta cube, theta raised to 5, and so on. Okay, so in that case obviously you can say that this equation is non-linear in nature, whereas this equation is linear. What does that mean? That we have we don't have higher powers of acceleration as well as displacements involved in this differential equation, whereas this differential equation has got higher powers of theta, which itself is the unknown. So you have higher power of unknown function sitting in the differential equation. That's why this equation is called as nonlinear differential equation, and solving a nonlinear differential equation is no less than a nightmare. Okay, so what we do is we simplify our lives in all these cases. Okay, so we prefer not having nightmares. Okay, so let's take a pill for not having that nightmare, and the pill is that we assume that the oscillations of this pendulum are very small, so small angle oscillation. Okay, so this L is very large. Okay, so the length of this string is very large, very long string we have to consider, and compared to that, this this distance which is traveled is very small. If you say so, then you can approximate this theta by a very small angle approximation. Okay, and in that case you can say that sine theta is almost equal to theta when theta is measured in radians. Okay, for very small angle thetas, you know that theta and sine theta, they are no different, they are almost identical. So you can replace sine theta by theta. If you do so, then this differential equation is changed into d square theta by dt square plus g by L times theta equal to 0. Okay. Now this is the acceleration, angular acceleration. This is nothing but angular displacement. So displacement equivalent in the angular reference frame. So, and these two quantities are related by using this constant which is g over L. So it has got very much similarity with respect to this system. Okay, so these two differential equations are almost identical. Okay, this is also second derivative of x, d square x by dt square. Okay, so second derivative of x and x are added linearly, and this is the proportionality constant between them. Okay. Here also you have this sitting as the proportionality constant, and this is acceleration and this is displacement. Okay. So you can say that this differential equation is no different than this differential equation. So obviously properties of the solution of this differential equation will also be exactly identical to the properties of the solution that we have obtained in this case. Okay, so not only properties, even the way we solve the differential equation, the way we solve the differential equation, the way we put initial conditions, then the way we see the solution, the kind of expression of the solution, so everything is going to be identical. So our job is to inherit whatever understanding that we have developed so far in this case and put it in this reference frame. Only rather than saying that as x, call that as a theta. Okay? If you do so, you can say that theta is nothing but a cosine omega t minus phi, okay, where a will be equal to amplitude of oscillations, and you can write down that a as theta dot that is theta 0 square, that is uh, the initial displacement, the initial angle theta to start with, whatever initial angle that you are giving, plus theta dot in the beginning divided by omega n square. Okay, this is omega n over here. Now what is omega n? Omega n is nothing but natural frequency of oscillation. In this case, omega n was equal to square root of k by m. Okay, so differential equation was having omega n square sitting into it. So differential equation was like this: x double dot plus omega n square x is equal to 0. You can say that in this equation, theta double dot plus omega n square theta equal to 0. Hence, omega n square will be equal to g by L, and hence omega n is equal to square root of g by L. Now you know omega n. Once you know omega n, you can, and once you know the initial conditions, you can find out A. Further, you also know how the phi, this phase angle phi is obtained. Rather than calling theta, I am calling it as a phi over here, so that you will not be confusing this phi with this theta. This theta is angle of oscillation of the mass, and this is phase angle. Okay, so this is very important for you to differentiate between the two. Okay, and phi will be equal to tan inverse of it will be theta dot 0 divided by omega n divided by theta 0. So tan inverse of that angle is what is phi, what you are getting. You have to put this phi over here in this, and you obtain theta, which is exactly identical to what we have seen over here. Okay, we have not even solved it. What we have done is we already have solved this. We know how it looks like. So we are simply mapping the solution onto it. Okay, so same solution, bring all those inferences, bring all those solutions over here and say that you have obtained a solution in case of this problem. Okay, you don't have to solve the problem. So the major major crux was in modeling this system's behavior in this fashion. Okay, so the moment you are able to approximate this system by using a single degree of freedom oscillator, consider as if it is a single degree of freedom oscillator, map its behavior onto a single degree of freedom oscillator, and now your this system is changed to what we have seen before. Okay, so this is the system. So you have approximated this into this. Okay, get the differential equation and see what are the quantities of interest. Okay, so omega n, for example, omega n in this case is coming out to be equal to square root of g by l. Okay, otherwise everything is same except this omega n, which is square root of g by l in this case, and it was square root of k by m in this case. Everything else is same. Okay, and I want you to appreciate very important thing over here. Okay, the thing is that in case of pendulum, which is a peculiar problem in case of pendulum, we see this happening in case of pendulum, that mass is not coming into picture in omega n. This is very interesting. So omega n doesn't have any contribution coming from the mass. Okay, so it's simply depends on, it's entirely depend on what is g, what is acceleration, okay, which is gravitational acceleration, which is pulling this mass down, and how much is this length. Okay, whatever be the mass, okay, you can replace this mass by any other mass as long as you are able to make the approximation that the rod is massless, that is this mass is fairly high as compared with the mass of the rod. Then you can replace this mass by any other mass and still everything else is going to remain the same, including the natural frequency and hence the solution. There won't be any difference. Only contributing phenomena is this G and L. That too, they are not independent. It is their ratio. Ratio of G to L is what is the kind of a controlling parameter. Okay, so that is called as a natural frequency. In this case, the controlling parameter was K by M. Okay, so K again, K and M individually they are not controlling parameters, but their ratio is what is controlling the behavior. Okay, if you, so for example, we have earlier in the earlier case said that 1000 was K and 10 units of mass. Okay, you could have easily replaced by 100 units of K and 1 unit of mass. However, things would not have at all changed. Everything would have been identical. Okay, as long as this ratio of K by M remains constant, everything is going to remain constant. In the same fashion, as long as this ratio of G by L is going to remain constant, everything else is going to remain constant. Okay, so you have now seen that there is no any role of mass into it. Okay, so that kind of reminds me a very interesting example that we most of us have. You might have even experienced it. Okay, at least these days I am experiencing it whenever I take my kid out for playing in the ground. Okay, so you have that swing. Okay, let's assume that swing is fairly long. Okay, and if you are sitting over here all alone, okay, and swinging, okay, assuming that angle of swing is very small. Okay, in that case, even if your friend comes and sits with you, there is not going to be any change in the period of the oscillation of the swing. So what you do is you give certain initial condition and observe how much time the swing is going to take to complete one oscillation. Okay, if you change the mass of it, if you invite one of your friends to come and sit along with you, still the swing is going to vibrate with the same natural period. There is not going to be any change in the natural frequency of the swing, provided this length is fairly large, so that you can say that theta is very small. As long as small theta approximation is valid, natural frequency is equal to square root of G by L, which doesn't involve any mass contribution. Okay, so this is the first example that we have seen so far.